Good day, everyone. How are you on this beautiful, beautiful day? It's a chilly day here in Atlanta. As a matter of fact, I wish I still had my bathrobe on that I had on right before I joined here because it is a bit nippy. It's beautiful, it's nice and sunny, but it's a bit nippy. I hope it's wonderful wherever you might be around the globe. But thank you for joining. This is Power Hour Coaching. And yes, I am Bernadette Bose of Ball of Fire Coaching. And what we're intending to do here is to provide you a platform to getting the support and the help and the coaching that you need over a question, a challenge, a situation, a decision, anything that you might be dealing with within your career. And it could be within your life as well. And providing you the tips and advice, sometimes tough love, that will allow you to keep moving forward so you can continue creating those riches in your work and life that you deserve. And you can learn more about what we do at Ball of Fire Coaching at balloffirecoaching.com. But today's conversation, I wanted it to be around a top question that I always get this time of year. It starts about in the middle of November before everybody, at least here in the States, takes off for Thanksgiving. But then already this week, I've had a number of client discussions all around it. And that is, how do I finish the year off strong? What should I continue to be doing as I close out 2022 this year and go into the new year? I feel like, and the commentary will be like, I feel like everybody's winding down, and whether it's about my career or about my business, folks might not want to hear from me. So I really want to focus in on that question because there could be nothing further from the truth than the fact that December is a slow month, because it is not. It is a very active month, not just for retail and for all of you, kind of buying products and services out in the stores. And it's not only a busy month for the retailers, but it is a very, very busy month for both corporate professionals as well as entrepreneurs, really wanting to make a final push for the end of the year. So I want to talk through kind of basically what that looks like and what you could be doing. And I am going to speak to both you, the corporate professional, as well as the entrepreneur, though most of it is an overlap. But I did want to point out some specific things in regards to that. Now, one other thing too, I want to mention is I am here live. So if you should have a comment or question while we are here, or even after we've broadcasted, but maybe you've come across the replay, then share your comment or question or situation you're dealing with in the comment section. I'm watching them here live, but I'll also be watching them as this goes out and gets broadcasted across multiple platforms. We are broadcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. So there's plenty of ways for you to catch my attention and to get the support that you need. Okay. And lastly, you could go to balloffirecoaching.com, and I have a very brief ebook called The 3 Myths of Success. The 3 must-have myths of success. So 3 things that you've been told all along that you should or shouldn't do, and yet they couldn't be further from the truth either. And therefore, I provide you kind of the reality check and what you could be doing to get noticed, to get rewarded, and to get advanced in your career. So take a look for that. All right, let's dive into this, shall we? Like I said, I want to look at both from a corporate perspective as well as an entrepreneurial perspective. So the first thing people will think about is definitely kind of the sales push of December. Now, corporate can act very differently than entrepreneurs in a lot of cases, because corporate knows that the end of the year is that great opportunity to go in to their clients or to their prospects and to make that final push for an opportunity to close a sale before the end of the year. Entrepreneurs, they tend to be of the mindset that, oh, wait a minute, everybody's quieting down, they're done spending, and therefore there's not a great opportunity for me. So entrepreneurs, listen up and take the lead of the corporate. I'll never forget one of my greatest, dearest friends and mentors throughout my 25-year corporate career. I actually really only worked with him the last 12, I guess. But his number one lesson that I learned from him, and he was sales, was that the December especially is that opportunity to go in and, kind of ask your clients, ask your prospects, what do you need? What do you need going into 2023? But yet you can buy now that product or service. It would help me from my own goals perspective, but it would also help you make sure that you do take advantage of the budget that you have this year, even maybe with a discount that I'm going to provide you as a result of supporting my goals and I'm supporting yours. And therefore, how can we make it a win-win for both of us as we go into the new year? And when I would watch him do this, and a lot of salespeople don't across industries, and therefore when he didn't get what most people would think would be, a flat out rejection. Are you kidding me? It's the end of year. I can't be spending, so forth and so on. He would, in a majority of the cases, get them to be very open and receptive and really consider that opportunity, especially if it was coming with a incentive and a discount that he wouldn't be getting, or he or she wouldn't be getting in the next year, because of course, products and services, can be increased as you go into a new year. So it is a win-win for everyone, is to go take a look at your, in the case of sales, take a look at your client and prospect base, and whether those were opportunities maybe you presented at the beginning of the year and they said it's not a good time, not right now, no, so forth and so on. Go and revisit them. If it's, new opportunities, or you don't even know if what opportunity might be there, still go and ask and make the suggestion. Remind them that it's the end of the year, prices go up in the new year for our products and services. You most likely have a budget. And in a lot of cases, and this will go be a theme throughout the multiple tips that I'm going to provide you, in a majority of the cases too, budgets, if they're not spent in one year, they're at risk for the next year. So people want to be spending their budget as they get through December, so they don't lose it if they didn't spend it next year. Because a lot of people, a lot of leaders, as they're looking at their budgeting and they're planning for the following year, they're like, well, Sally, you didn't seem to need this budget this year, so why would I continue giving it to you next year? So there's a great opportunity for you to be able to leverage that and simply ask. All they can say is no. We're done spending. We're not ready, to spend for the next year. We'll take our risks that prices go up, so forth and so on. But the point is, you have to ask. All right. So entrepreneurs, take the lead of corporate, who, not all of them, I can't say that, but who have taken that lead to close out the year strong from a sales perspective by just revisiting their current client base and their current prospecting base, revisiting those that might not have been ready earlier in the year, and just simply proposing that they take advantage of any opportunities you can give them in as far as incentives and discounts, and to close their book strong, which also helps you close your book strong. Okay. So that's the big one. And that's the one everybody tends to focus, sales, of course, tends to focus on, whether it's corporate or entrepreneurs, as they go to kind of close out the year strong, that final push. A lot of it tends to be around sales. Now, that said, you corporate professionals, and I speak to you on a daily basis, whether that be, from a prospecting client base or just online. And a lot of you are thinking, well, the job search slows down in December. The opportunity for me to ask for a raise, or for me to ask for a promotion or a new project or a transfer somewhere, slows down. And so December's not a good year for me to approach my boss or approach somebody about it. And again, flat out, wrong. Flat out wrong. This is a great time of year. I have a number of clients who have, even in the last 4 to 6 weeks, have been going through performance reviews, assessments for team restructuring or account planning going into the new year. So it's already bubbling up and top of mind for many of the leaders out there, many of your bosses out there. So they certainly would want to hear from you as far as your employee satisfaction, your ability to contribute, your ability to add to what it is that you already do, your ability to grow and move into different areas of the business, so forth and so on. So don't hesitate when it comes to going and talking to your boss about the opportunities for a raise, for a promotion, for a new project, for new opportunities for yourself. And don't consider that just because it is December 1st, that those conversations are done with for the year, because they're not. And even if that individual considered it closed, even if your boss considered it kind of, yeah, we're done, by you approaching them, if you're a high potential, high producer, high contributor, so forth and so on, and they are all of a sudden even considering that you might be a risk in losing you, if because of the fact that you are looking for something, then they could all of a sudden have a change of mind in regards to considering that for yourself. So again, you have to ask. And the only thing they could say is no. Now, a good many of you right now might be thinking, well, there's like a recession on. So I've been hearing that probably for 4 or 5 months now from my client base around just, we're going to have to cut back. We're going to, people are going to be laying off. We've obviously seen companies laying off: Facebook, Twitter, Uber. Who else did I make note of? Amazon, and not just dozens or hundreds, but thousands. Now, they could be doing that for a whole slew of reasons. Twitter had a new head of Twitter come in the door, and you know what happens when a new leader comes in? There's changes. Yes, the Facebooks and the Amazons and whatnot might be looking at kind of a slowdown, whether that's a recession or not. You don't know what their decision making process is, but yet they could be planning that. That does not mean that you still can't ask. It doesn't mean that, one, it's going to happen to you or the company that you're working with, or two, even if it were to happen to your company, that you are still unable to ask for a change, a shift in some way, shape, or form, whether that's monetary, roles, responsibilities, so forth and so on. So you can't allow all the fear mongering going on around you to affect you individually. You still need to take care of yourself, and you still need to ask if you feel that you've earned and you're ready for that next step, whatever that might be. All right. The other thing I want to point out in regards to the potential recession, and the fact that a good number of huge companies, which is what gets everybody all worked up, as they start seeing all these big names laying off tens of thousands of people, and that starts to create a lot of stress and angst for employees, but also the employers as well. They're not looking for you to all of a sudden have a total morale debacle because of the fact that you're listening to the news or watching the news and you're seeing all these things happening around you. Keep in mind, even MSNBC and a number of other media outlets are still reporting the fact that there are two job openings for every one unemployed individual. So there's still a major gap in being able to fill jobs from the last several years. Now, are they your skill set? Are they your roles, your industries, your segments? Maybe, maybe not. At the same time, you need to heed those facts and those statistics to really consider, am I going to waste a lot of my energy and get into a really bad headspace because of what is going on around me, even within my own company? Because the other thing I want to note on this discussion of the recession and the major layoffs going on in support of these, 2 openings to every one unemployed individual is whether we can see it from, the outside in regards to the decision-making process of the Amazons and the Twitters and whatnot. Your company may make decisions that aren't kind of flat across the board. We have to get rid of 10% of our people. You would expect that there's decisions being made around whether there's somebody that's a high potential, high performer, high contributor, whether there's a, strong learner in the mix, meaning they may not be the greatest contributor right now, but they have great capacity to learn and grow, versus underperformance, underlearners, unmotivated people, and therefore making their decisions based on that. So your number one goal and objective needs to be that you're just going to stay, doing what you're doing, especially if you are high performing, high contributing, high value, and you're adding to the benefit of the company. Then don't spend your time getting in your head around what's happening around you. And still, if you feel that there are opportunities for you to get a raise, get a promotion, get a new project, get a new assignment, get a transfer, whatever the case might be, still ask. Again, all they can do is say no. Okay. But do your best to try to ignore all the drama, because that will be, and your employers are just as concerned as you are as far as forget about, the fact that we had 2020, 2021, and I don't even want to use the C word or the P word, forget about, the psychological damage, the post-trauma that has created for many employers, having witnessed what their employees have been going through, over the last several years. Well, on top, so coming kind of through that, hoping to eventually leave it in the past for good. However, now we have this, whole drama swelling up around us around a potential recession. Well, your employers are very concerned about their people and their, especially their high, potential high learner, high contributor, high producing individuals. So, do what you need to do in order to stay locked in on, providing that, and do your best to just stay focused and not get kind of in the weeds on all that swirling around you. And keep in mind, though things could change should the economy change going into next year or sometime next year, keep in mind we still have 2 job openings to every unemployed person. So should even something happen, because, I'm not a, pie in the sky type of individual. I'm a positive, optimistic individual, but I know reality too. So should something happen to you as far as your job, keep in mind, the economy still, the job market is still working in your favor. Though I do know individuals, clients included, that have been on the job market for some time. And, that has a lot to do with supply and demand in regards to particular roles and industries, so forth and so on. However, it's still working in your favor. So just stay on track. Okay. Let me see. So when it comes to, first, I wanted to talk to you about, from a overall, from a sales perspective and, kind of client acquisition, as well as raises and promotion. So the business metrics, the business goal side of it, I definitely wanted to address as far as what can you be doing until the end of the year. Another 30 days you have to really close out the year strong. Those are my suggestions for you. And then, of course, we touched on the recession, but I also want to touch on. I want to touch on the job market as far as, again, people are still hiring. They're needing to fill positions going into the new year, spend their budget going into the new year. They're wanting to get their plans and their teams in place, before the new year or shortly thereafter the new year. So for any of you out there job hunting, like several people I know, just continue doing what you're doing. Don't take time off. Continue treating it as a job on your own, in regards to getting as many resumes out there, networking, meeting people, so forth and so on. Just keep doing it, because this time of year, this month is a heavy hiring month. So just keep going at it that way. All right. And then the next area I wanted to talk about is, all right, we have all of that aside, those people that need to continue closing sales, and there's huge opportunities this month. Simply ask. Those that are looking for raises and promotions and new opportunities and even a new job, there's still opportunities for that all month. Don't stop. And then at the same time, and keep in mind too, well, I was going to say, globally, depending upon where you're working, where you're looking, keep in mind too, kind of culturally, what their calendar looks like. I was talking to a European group who, yes, between Christmas and New Year's will definitely be shut down. So definitely keep those things in mind. I don't want to, pretend as if everybody's working for the next 30 days and not taking time off. So I just wanted to make sure I said that. All right. So moving on to what are those other things that December is a great month to be kind of closing out strong. And that would be making sure that you're revisiting, if you haven't been doing it regularly throughout the year, but revisit your goals, revisit those plans you put into place, revisit, which you would have done in our discussion around sales, your account plans, but revisit what you had planned to do at the beginning of the year and where you are with those goals right now. And there's still opportunity that if, for instance, I had planned at the beginning of the year that I would work on the newest outline of the next book that I'm writing, and that I wanted to start writing even this year. I wasn't going to finish it this year. That wasn't the goal. The goal, though, one big goal was to have a kind of a final draft of the outline, the detailed outline of the next book that I'm writing, which will be a complement to Shedding the Corporate Bitch, my first book that I wrote. This one will be Excavating Your Soul, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business, the guide. So it's literally a guide you can use if you're looking to make a change or transformation in your life. So my goal was to have a very detailed outline. When I sat down actually this past weekend and looked over this year thus far, I didn't get any of that done. I didn't get the top level outline. I didn't get the second level outline, let alone the detailed outline, which then would allow me to just simply start writing and even getting it edited. So I said to myself this past weekend, I said, well, I have the month of December. There will be areas of my business that are very busy. I have a big, couple of engagements going on over the next couple of weeks. And then, of course, I do take downtime between Christmas and New Year's. So what can I do? I didn't kind of forget about it and say, okay, I just didn't accomplish it. I revised it and I said, okay, what can I do over the next 30 days, or at least the time that I have available over the next 30 days? And so I would suggest the same for you. Take a look at your goals. Don't give up on those that maybe you haven't started or you haven't finished. Look at them and see what you can do to shift them and adjust them and revise them into something that you will feel good about at the end of the year to say, all right, I didn't get the whole thing done, but this piece I did. And I made a commitment to get this piece done. And I was able to get that done as a last push before the end of the year. So look at your goals, and look at your goals both personally and professionally. Of course, it's so much easier for individuals that I work with to look at their business goals. What are my business goals? Their number one priority that they focus on are their metrics, sales, revenue, number of clients, whatever the case might be. At the same time, I want you to also be looking at your personal development or professional development goals. You might have had training that you needed to take place. You might have been getting coaching and mentoring, or maybe you are seeing that you would benefit from it. But how are you, even progressing on your personal / professional development goals? Did you have, which a number of my clients had 360 assessments and or their performance reviews from 2021 last year. They, are, continuing to look at them throughout the year to see their progress against it. At the same time, they're looking at their beginning of the year performance review, mid-year, and now a lot of them are writing their end of year. And so take an inventory, take an assessment of how are you doing both on your personal goals and your professional goals, so you can ensure that you're still on track to getting the growth, whether that's tangible or intangible, but that growth that you had been planning for. Because certainly especially from a business perspective, when you are sitting down and writing that performance review, and then your boss is adding their commentary to it, you want to, kind of be demonstrating and revealing the progress and the changes or whatever it was that was being laid out for you from a personal professional development perspective, that you have made changes, shifts, whatever the case might be. You've, achieved certifications or trainings, whatever you might have planned. So make sure you're looking at all of that. And again, you could also be looking at your more business metric account plans, client lists, your budget, your project plans, am I on, was I on time? Was I on budget? Whatever you were tasked to do. You can also be looking at all of that. And then just don't think that, okay, everybody's too busy thinking about, prepping for the holidays. No one's going to pay attention if I don't take action, if I don't, continue working on these plans, no one's going to pay attention. I had a conversation with someone earlier. People are always watching. People are always observing. People are always seeing what you are or aren't doing. So, don't change your ways. Don't, take your foot off the pedal, so to speak. Just continue doing it and continue to ensure that each and every day you are taking actions, you are learning something, and you are working toward accomplishing your goals, whatever they might be, at work or at home. And then from a business perspective, you could be looking, whether corporate or entrepreneurial, you could be looking at what does your team look like right now? What does your client base look right now? What does your product and service offerings look like right now, or the projects you're working on, or the responsibilities that you have, the roles that you have, and what changes, what improvements, what expansion, what reprioritization needs to happen as you go into the new year. So December is always a great month to get your, the next year's plans all laid out. And you could be looking at it from, the ground up, from everything from just the infrastructure, which means like systems, processes, procedures, things that you need to be and to have in place in order to be really effective for yourself as well as for others, meaning your team or your clients or your vendors, whatever the case might be. And then you bring it up and say, okay, so then what do I need from a people perspective? So do I have the right, people in the right seats? Do I have gaps in the people that I need? Do I have an overflow? of the type of skills that I need. And therefore, I have these gaps, whatever the case might be. But start looking at overall not only your structure of what you have going into the new year, but also, okay, so what do our goals need to start looking like? So many people don't have, so many companies, I should say, made up of people, don't have their goals and their plans laid out until March, April, May of the new year. And I'm always flabbergasted by that. Yes, I understand the chain of command and the amount of, work that goes into it. And the fact that, a lot of people are waiting for it to get trickled down to them. But what I tell my clients is, don't worry about what you're getting trickled down to. You know what you need for your business, for your work, for your job, for the people that work for you or with you. And so, kind of already have your plan, regardless of how long it takes for the formal plan to come. Just make sure your plan is ready to go, and then, obviously communicated and bought in on as you get into the new year. So you're not into February, March, or April kind of going by the wind. You actually have a very solid plan. Yes, things might have to get tweaked when the final plan is eventually brought down, but at the same time, you still have a very clear path of where you're going come January 1. And whether that is professional or you even do that personally, the way I see it is, why get up on any morning of your life, whether that's in January or October, and not really know what it is you're getting up and putting your feet on the ground and racing out into the world to actually accomplish and achieve. So, for yourself at least, and then for others around you that depend on you, have that plan in place. Put it, start defining it and crafting it this month. You can even start communicating and sharing with others to get their inputs, and then work to solidify it, as early in January as possible. So, you now have your path that you'll be going through in the new year. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and another thing too, that I didn't want to overlook is that at the same time, December's a good, and we talked about it briefly, but December is a good overall inventory month of the year, of this past year. So before you put the past in the past, because you're obviously going to need it for your performance reviews or your team's performance reviews, but before you put the year behind you, kind of take stock, take inventory. How did you do personally, professionally, mentally, emotionally, physically? Not only what were those goals, we already talked about that. Not only what were those goals and what did you accomplish or not accomplish, but really, how did you feel about the year? How did you feel about yourself, where you were in your being throughout the year? And, what changes would you make, and or what have you, gained that you just want to carry forward with you? But to kind of do a 2020 past, I won't call it the year in case, you might see this next year, but, but just, take a look and an inventory and assessment of the year behind you, and really kind of say, okay, so what does it look like for myself, for my team, for my clients, for my family and my friends, the people around me, and what do I want to continue and carry forward, and then what do I want to kind of let go, because maybe it wasn't the most effective or efficient or satisfying thing that I experienced this past year. So just overall take stock of the year as well. Okay. Now, if you should have any questions, or you're pondering just exactly, what you need to do in order to do the assessments, make a final push, go into the new year with a plan, then feel free to reach out and grab some time, complimentary time with me. Just go to coachmebernadette.com/discovery call. I would love to help, give you some suggestions, kind of help you with whatever question, situation, challenge, decision, opportunity that you might have. And just so you don't sit there and just feel like you're, on an island on your own, know that at least I'm here should you need anything. All right. And then continue pushing, pushing, pushing and finish this year off strong, because it could be a great, great year for you. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. And I'll look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 1 o'clock. Talk to you soon. Bye.